The word I pulled this moon cycle was insecurity. We treat insecurity like it's something to fix, but what if it's just what it feels like when a false floor gives away? The insecurity itself wasn't the problem, it was the false floor that you were standing on. In the alignment cycle, I talked about how most people feel off, not because they're broken, but because they're living out of rhythm with themselves. And in the authenticity cycle, I talked about the gap between who you actually are and who you're performing as, and how that gap is where the tension lives. Now, insecurity, that's what fills the gap. That's what it feels like on the inside. So I want to map this out because insecurity isn't just one thing. It shows up in different forms, and most of us are carrying more than just one. So there's attachment insecurity, for example, the fear of being abandoned or left. It usually starts early in life when people who are supposed to be consistent weren't, and it doesn't go away on its own. You carry it into relationships even after that. It's not like you're thinking, I'm afraid of being abandoned. You just act from it. There's performance insecurity, the fear that output defines your worth. So the work is never separate from yourself. So then every critique lands on your identity and not just the project. There's social insecurity, the fear of being judged or excluded. And this one is actually evolutionary. Being cast out of the group used to be a death sentence, but the brain still treats a social rejection like a survival threat, which is why one comment from someone can ruin your entire day. There's existential insecurity, which is not what do they think of me, but does what I'm doing even matter? And this is the one that tends to keep you up until 2 a.m. There's identity insecurity, where if the performance stopped, if you just showed up who you actually are and not the version you're performing, there'd be nothing there. Or worse, what's there wouldn't be enough. And there's others, financial insecurity, so you have spending problems, you're paycheck to paycheck, you can't get approved for a loan. Body insecurity, my left foot is bigger than my right foot, my right toe is bigger than my left toe, I have skinny calves, I adjust my shirt or sit in a way to make it seem like I'm not overweight, I'm balding. Each one with its own hiding place. I've lived in most of these in different points of my life, and this cycle is forcing me to get specific about which ones are still running. Here's some signals I've noticed about myself. When something gets triggered, my chest tightens, heat rushes to my face, sometimes in embarrassment, sometimes in anger. My mind just goes blank when I need it the most. And these aren't weaknesses. The nervous system doesn't really understand the difference between a physical threat and a social one. It just sees danger and responds. And then a negativity bias kicks in on top of that. Our brain takes a threat more heavily than safety. So one critical comment will outweigh 10 affirmations. In a disagreement, you'll forget everything about the argument that was true and focus on the one thing that triggered you. So when you spiral, when one small moment of doubt turns into a full story about who you are, you're not being irrational, you're just being human. Our biology is doing exactly what it was designed to do, just in the wrong context. A lot of what we feel as personal inadequacy isn't personal, it's manufactured. Last month when I talked about authenticity, I talked about how every time we edit ourselves in order to conform, we remove a path for a different perspective to exist. But here's the other side of that. The system needs to feel like you're not enough. And that's not a conspiracy, that's just how it works. Every ad starts with the same move. Here's the version of you that's lacking, and here's what fixes it. Social media runs on the same thing. Comparison is built into their programming, and the result is this constant low-level signal that everyone else is further ahead, more together, more loved. So the question I keep sitting with in this cycle is, which of these insecurities are actually mine? And which ones were programmed into me or installed? Because if you don't have the awareness and can't tell the difference, you end up doing inner work on a wound that wasn't even yours to begin with. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the part of yourself you've buried because the world told you it wasn't acceptable. And the thing about the shadow is, it doesn't disappear when you hide it. It just runs you from underneath. A lot of what shows up as insecurity is shadow, parts of you still demanding to be seen. And Epictetus had the other side of that. He said insecurity comes from placing value in things outside of your control, whether it's reputation, outcomes, what other people think of you. So the Stoic move is simple, but it's not easy. Return your attention to what's actually yours, your response, your values, your actions. Everything else is just noise. So there's a two-part question underneath all of this. What am I still hiding that wants to surface? And what am I giving my power to that was never mine to control? And here's the interesting thing about this word. Trying to get rid of insecurity is often what keeps it alive. Avoiding it confirms that there's a threat. The performance confirms the real self isn't enough. And then hiding from it confirms that there's something worth hiding. In the alignment video, I talked about how alignment wasn't something that you chase, it's something that you remember. Think about Plato and how he teaches that all knowledge is a recollection. Insecurity works the very same way. You don't eliminate it. You learn how to move through it by observing it until it stops controlling you. So I want to be clear about where I'm at right now, because I am not on the other side of this. But what I am going to do is I'm going to look at it directly, name it, trace some of it back to where it started, and then eventually I'm going to reduce the fog. If something about this landed for you, here's a prompt for a comment. Which of your insecurities are genuinely yours, and which ones are installed? So the next video, I'm going to get creative, similar to my Plato's Cave video. And then after that, I'm going to talk about action, where I teach you about how you can take action in your own life. And I know that the new moon is coming up and I'm a little late on this video, but I think insecurity kind of made me feel a little insecure, because I know that for my creative video, I might have to do the thing I'm uncomfortable with, which is going outside and filming in public. We'll see if I do that. I don't know. I'm definitely going to do it at some point on this series. I'm going to go outside of my comfort zone, and I am just going to go out. But yeah, that's the whole point of this, is for me to go outside of my comfort zone and to learn and grow, and maybe you can get something out of it along the way. I'll see you on the next video.